Muy buenas a todos, chicos, estamos aquí con Wunder, el top laner de G2, que acaban de ganar el primer partido del split contra Splyce. First of all, thank you very much for being here. How did you feel in this first match you had?
I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. We only practiced 3 days before the split started. Of course, we had all this MSI, right? So we wanted like a break. We didn't get, unfortunately, like the longest break in the world, right? But we feel like we are kind of recharged, and we kind of just picked up where we left off at MSI, right? And I'm not sure if Splyce was like kind of respecting us too much. They were maybe a bit scared coming into the game. I guess understandably so. If you haven't played for a long time and you play against someone who just come fresh off an MSI win, right? But I think we didn't really do anything special. We just like played our game.
Yeah.
I don't really even feel like we played good in any way. We just, I mean, it was like just a kind of normal practice game for us, and it seemed like we did pretty well.
Some people say that you are so good individually and technically and all this stuff that you don't even need to train. What do you think about this?
I mean, I think sure, to some extent. There's like champions that I've played so many times that if I were to pick them up again, I feel like I'm pretty fast at like picking up even new champs, but also like old champs that no one has really touched for, let's say, like 2 years or something, right? So in theory, yeah, I think like the most difficult things would be like just the game changing in general. So like, let's say matchups changing when it comes to maybe new items coming in, the map changing, like for example, like Herald, Drake, all this stuff can change, you know? That will maybe make it a bit difficult, but if everything like stayed the same, then I could probably like not play for a long time and then come back and still be good. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for people watching, that's not the case, because the game changes a lot. So I'll probably still be grinding, putting a lot of hours in the game, even though maybe if I'm in the lucky position that I maybe can't or shouldn't.
Talking about changes in the game, what do you think about Rise rework? Because I know you're pretty good at Rise. So what do you think about that?
I mean, Rise has been reworked a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite yet how it's gonna be. It seems like it's just a nerf, not really a rework. Of course, things are getting changed, so you will call it a rework, right? But it just seems like a flat-out nerf, and I think maybe they will have to buff it again, because even right now the current Rise is like really bad win rate in solo queue. Just historically for the maybe like last 2 years, he has had like 40% win rate, and if they just like flat-out nerf him, it's probably gonna be like really like 30% or something, right? But in competitive, he's for sure really, really strong. So the nerf makes sense because he's like so contested, and it's pretty much always been really contested. But I don't really feel like I mean, I like playing Rise, but it's not like one of my favorite champs anyways. So I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I don't mind if it's not in my champ pool, let's say, the split.
You have a big champ pool. Is there any top laner that you say like I cannot play it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, there's champions I dislike. Like really, generally I dislike like really unskilled champs. So like for example, when Urgot was really strong, you could basically be a really bad Urgot and you could just perma push lane, not really get punished in any way, and still be really strong later in the game because you're a tank and the ult was really strong and stuff like that, right? And then you can be a good Urgot, and the difference is like not that much. I mean, maybe you'll get a solo kill at a time where a bad Urgot maybe wouldn't. But if you play against good players, you can just perma push the wave in, and there's like kind of no counterplay. So champs like that, where you don't really have to be any good basically to get leads or win the game, I dislike playing them.
How difficult is for you guys making the draft, since you all can play all the champs?
I mean, it's for sure more difficult, because if you're a team that only plays like 3 champs and you get all of them, then you're like you're in your comfort zone, right? You just know what to pick. Don't even have to communicate with your coach. But fortunately for us, we have like good communication. We know like we're kind of on the same page. If you pick this champ, it most likely goes to Caps, or if you pick this champ, it goes to me, right? Like there's specific scenarios like that. But yeah, I mean, it just gives us a lot of flexibility, and we all trust each other. So if someone says something in champ select, hey, I want to play this, or this is good here, or something like that, right? We always have something to pick. So that's I guess like the upside of it.
Some journalists were discussing before who has the best Irelia, Caps or you?
Well, I would say the playstyle is probably like his is probably like more flashy, whereas I think I think my laning phase is better. I think my laning phase is better, but he has like some flashy outplays because that's just, I mean, he just caps things right. Like against Team Liquid where he 1v2'd jungle mid, and maybe you haven't seen those highlights from me, but I think my laning phase is better.
So nice to hear. So I'd like to ask you, talking about MSI, how was it for you winning it? I mean, I guess really cool, you know, but were you like expecting that? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, we expected that we could win it, but we didn't like expect to win it like fully, you know. We didn't know what to expect really, since we came in against like #1 Korea, #1 China, and no one really knows like how you stack up against each other. At Worlds, for example, we got 3-0 by IG with a different lineup, to be fair, but it was not like really close, right? So we were not like, I was not just flying to MSI and being like, yeah, it's just gonna be the usual. I just have to practice as much as I did in the EU, and then we can just win it, right? We had to put more effort into it as a team and like really try hard to win the whole thing. And then, I mean, I guess it just happened that we were good enough to pull through. And I mean, even though maybe it was close against SKT, the final was pretty one-sided. Yeah, pretty one. And to the feeling about winning it, I think because of the final, the way it played out, we weren't really that hyped.
Yeah, it was so easy, maybe.
It was kind of similar to when we played against Origin in the EU finals, where we were like kind of left with a feeling of, wait, did we just win? You know, like it was like it didn't really hit us, and the adrenaline was never like spiking to the fullest, you know, because we were going into game 3 and being like, there's no way they win, you know, like we already knew that we won before we exploded the Nexus, and that was like kind of a letdown. So we were like,
that's it.
Yeah. I mean, against SKT we had more celebrations and like we were happier, but against TL it was just another day in the office, I guess.
So who do you think is going to be your biggest rival here in the summer split?
Well, I mean, since we didn't practice a lot, I'm not sure like who's actually strong right now, current form, but I expect Origin to be, I guess, good since they were in the finals, right? And during the split as well, they were looked at as the second strongest team, and they also gave us the most issues in the regular split games. So out of any team, I guess. So I suppose Origin is going to be the biggest rival.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you are already in Worlds. So I'd like to ask you, don't you feel like kind of pressure since you couldn't win, for example, Invictus Gaming in MSI? Do you think like it's going to be really, really hard to get the World Cup? Because you're one of the favorites, but still, I think you may have this, I don't know, I don't feel sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Worlds is for sure going to be harder than MSI, also because, I mean, we went 0-2 against IG at MSI, right? And then some might say they choked against Team Liquid or whatever. They just lost to Team Liquid, right? And let's say in a tournament where there's top 3 teams from every region, let's say first seed is IG, and they kind of choke or whatever. The match is not right for them, whatever you could say, right? Then there's still 2 teams from China, and maybe they don't have any issues, and maybe they're just fine, you know, and they'll just prove that China is the better region, and then we'll just lose to whoever is the 2nd seed or 3rd seed or whatever, right? So it's for sure going to be harder in that regard, that you can't like get lucky that teams have a bad day or like choke or anything, because then you have to play against another team for the same region that might just be stronger or like have a good day on the day, you know. So yeah, Worlds is for sure going to be stronger. I still think we're favorites for sure.
So if you can, for the last question, give me a prediction of what's going to happen this summer split. I have just talked with BC Chachi and he said Splyce first place. So give me your prediction. Well,
I mean, for sure, I don't really see how any EU teams can like match up to us. So for sure we're going to win. And I don't really, I mean, in ideal world, I guess what I would think is the best for EU, even though it's really early to tell, right? It's like us going alongside Origin and possibly Fnatic. If not Fnatic, maybe actually I don't really know. But maybe those 3 teams also have like big branding and have a lot of following, right? So, and then they are probably what I view as like the top 3 teams right now. So I assume that's going to be the outcome.
Thank you very much. Is there anything you want to say to the community?
Well, I mean, just keep supporting us. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of speedruns in the LEC, the split. If not, well, we'll bounce back in playoffs. I'm talking to the future, so we'll bounce back in playoffs, and then we'll just take it all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Eso ha sido todo, chicos. Espero que os haya gustado la entrevista. Esta y muchas más en el canal de YouTube de ESPORTMANIACOS. Hasta luego.